All right, go ahead.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
To the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
All right. Never goes smoothly.
That was our worst one ever.
Yeah, that was pretty
That
bad.
was bad. It was.
All right. Personal appeals part one. If anyone has a personal appeal from our virtual world, Shane will unmute you and please turn your video on, state your name and where you're from, and you present your appeal.
Hi, this is Ashley from Emmaus Main Street Partners. I will be talking later about the concert series on the Triangle, but I wanted to come before you all and talk about 2 ribbon cuttings we have coming up. One is for Lemongrass Cafe. I'll send you an email too, so you don't need to write it down. Monday, March 15th at 5:30 p.m. They are coming into East Penn Plaza. And the other is going to be, it was originally scheduled to be a grand opening, but it's turning out to be a 1-year anniversary for Mi Havana Cuban Cuisine, also in the same strip for East Penn Plaza. So I'll be sending an email about that, but wanted to let you all know about it as well. Hope to have you there.
Thank you. Anyone else with a public appeal? Hearing none, we'll let Shane mute the. Councilwoman Baumgartner, Councilman Hart, unmute yourself. There we go. All right, moving on to community minute. Does anyone on council have a community minute to bring forward? Hearing none. Special presentations. Tonight we have Lauren Kuhn, Sarah Plaza, and who's the other one? Carrie Schreppel, presenting the Emmaus Arts Commission's project update.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your meeting to meet with us. We've been discussing the plans for this at our meetings for some time, and Sarah and Lauren have just done exceptional research and planning for this, so we're really excited. I'm going to screen share. I have a PowerPoint presentation if you don't mind. It's very brief, so let's see. Hopefully I can. Oh, you've got to let me share.
Yeah, go ahead, Carrie.
Okay. Alrighty. Oh, I'm on slide 9, clearly. Okay, so the Emmaus Community Park mural, you guys know which building it is. We've gone down, we measured it so that we had a general idea of how big it is. It is quite large, which we did take that into consideration with the design to try to make it something that is feasible. Let me get rid of you guys here. How do I move this out of the way? You guys, we're like 8 months into this. I don't know how to do Zoom yet. All right, so here we are in February of 2021. We would hope that the mural site down at the park would be sanded and primed for us by May so that we could start doing the mural in June. We would like for it to be the entire month of June, preferably on the weekends, on Saturdays and or Sundays, so that the community members have a chance to come out and participate in it as well. That's also a time when there's, pretty many things happening in Community Park, which hopefully there are this year, so people should be around. We would hope that then by August, the mural is complete so that we could do some type of community reveal event and possibly piggybacking with any other type of concert or something else that is happening in the park relatively around that time. All right, how do I get to the next slide?
Bottom left corner.
I just got to move my little mutey thing here. There we go. All right, So the design plan is all Lauren. She is the mastermind behind drawing this all out. So she's going to take a few minutes to kind of explain this to you.
Okay, so, taking some reference just from a local kind of design, we decided to go with barn stars for the actual design. I blew them up really big because the goal is we really want to see the whole design from the main road. And as everybody who's familiar with that wall, it's pretty far from a main road. And so we want the design to be very big, very bold, super colorful. So we thought if we did barn stars, which you see in the barns all around Lehigh County and Berks County, that would kind of, give a little bit of local pride and show a little bit of, culture, while also adding a ton of color and making it look really beautiful and graphic. Carrie later is going to go over how we're going to involve the community, but real quick, we wanted to also pick a design that doesn't require a lot of shading, any type of figurative work, stuff that might make people a little hesitant to help us. So these are just flat, bold, geometric color patterns. The ones I picked are this was a smattering of ones from Lehigh County and Berks County. We're currently working on finding more that are more regional to Emmaus. I've found about 4 more, so we will be switching some of these actual barn stars out, but this basically shows the layout. And then I think with the next slide, we're going to be going into the history of these, if anyone's familiar or not. There's a lot of information on these slides, and we can.
I'm going to do just a brief history. I'm sorry.
Sarah, take over. Go ahead, Sarah.
So there's a lot more information that I'm actually going to share. If you would like, we can share this PowerPoint with you if you'd like to read through some more details. But the biggest things that we wanted to present is that we are not going to be referring to these as hex signs, which has a negative connotation. That term actually came into use in the 1920s when a book was written by somebody who was not originally from Pennsylvania, called Pennsylvania the Beautiful. Incorrectly used the term hex signs when a local farmer referred to them as hexafus, which are just geometric patterns. Honestly, they're more commonly referred to as Blume and Sterne, which are flowers and stars. Or so the Blume they tend to be more Lehigh County, and the Sterne they tend to be more Berks County. We are the two biggest counties that have these designs. Carrie, if you could move on to the next slide.
Why is it, sorry, I don't know why it keeps skipping. It's probably because I have to move this out of the way.
One of the other big things, so in the 1800s, the local schools actually outlawed the use of the Pennsylvania Deutsch language in the 1800s, and these signs were they were a sign of kind of the Pennsylvania Dutch, the community. It was a symbol of independence for the community. Going back to kind of the hex signs versus barn stars discussion, in the 1950s, there was a resurgence in the Pennsylvania Dutch culture. A lot of tourism to southeastern Pennsylvania, and they found out at one of the Kutztown Folk Festivals that the signs that had more supernatural kind of meanings to them were the ones that people were buying more. So that's when all the signs with the disselfinks, the tulips, the hearts, and the doves became popularized. We're trying to stay more along the lines of the stars, the geometric designs they're mostly based on compasses, geometry, astronomy. So that's kind of where those terms are coming from with the Blume and Sterne. The next slide is just going through just some Germanic inspirations that they potentially came from. However, the fact that they're on barns in Pennsylvania is actually unique to Pennsylvania, unique to our area. Pretty much the Lehigh Valley into the Shenandoah Valley in West Virginia. And then the next slide is just going to go, it's going to show kind of the Lehigh County signs versus the Berks County signs. So I think I'm gonna pass it on to, is it Carrie now?
Yeah, so just a side note, I will email this to all of you as a PDF so that you can read back on all the lovely details that are in there. So one of the ways that we are asking the borough to help us is to prime the building, to sand and prime the building for us so that it is ready to paint. We do ask that you prime it just so you can use something that you prefer to be on the building and you know is the quality that you want to be on. We would like to have some type of access to a building at the park to keep the paints in. That's one thing that it's very heavy to kind of take that back and forth. So if there's any area down there where we would be able to keep that for that, month plus, that would be great. It would also be awesome if the borough could help with the costs of paints and brushes. Again, that's also similar to the hydrants where, if the borough is kind of supplying that paint, you can pick the paint that you prefer to be used. And we know that it's the right kind that will last in different weather. Also, we would greatly appreciate if you could promote it on social media and put it on the Borough Council calendar events page so that people know when we are having those painting events. So that would be awesome if you guys can lend a hand with that. How the community can help. Of course, we want to involve the community in this project because I think it's something they're going to drive past, they're going to see, they're going to want to know what's going on. So we would love to create a social media post asking for people to submit local barn stars that they're aware of, just so we can kind of incorporate the local designs that are found around here in the Lehigh Valley. And we also want to put out a call for community members to help paint. One thing that we discovered during that small snow blast mural that we did one year, the kids that were very small and unsupervised, it necessarily didn't stay in the lines. So we will put an age limit on it and require people, to supervise their children if they are going to be participating. We were thinking of doing some type of sign up genius type concept where families or community groups like Girl Scout troops and things like that could sign up for certain time slots so that we know that it's limited people and limited exposure in the small groups. And, clearly after people are seeing this happening in the park, word of mouth is going to spread it. And, I think it's going to be something that they'll really love to see. And that's it. That's all. So please give us your thoughts and thank you so much for letting us visit.
So girls, just a little history from the borough here. There used to be a family that hand painted hex signs that used to be, Chris, maybe you can help me out with this. It used to be by the bakery. Anyhow, they hand painted hex signs and they painted thousands and thousands of them over time. I actually have one at home with my family name on it. But anybody else on council remember that? They were there for the longest time, and I wish I could remember the name.
If you think of it, just send me an email.
They were in the 400 block, right, Brent? 400 block of Chestnut? In the rear alley?
I remember it being by the bakery. That's all that's
Right behind it.
What was it?
Right behind it, right?
Yeah, it was behind it, like in the garage there, right? But
the sign is still there. I can't think of what it was called, but the sign is still there. I don't know if they still do it.
It was a Pennsylvania Dutch name. I know that, like Schuler's or Shoemaker or something like that. But anyhow, just a thought.
Schuster?
It could be that. I think that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think I read an article about them, the morning call article, and He has passed away and his wife passed away, but I think one of their children inherited the online business, but they're not local anymore.
They did
I
it.
was going to reach out to the child who owns it to let them know what we were up to see what their
Okay.
feedback would be. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually did it for the longest time. I think they did it up until they retired, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right, Chris?
Yeah.
Because they did it for a long time.
The
Anyhow,
I
signs-
also
the
have a
signs-
connection through Kutztown University with Patrick Dunmeyer, who's one of the scholars of just the Pennsylvania Dutch culture and the art in general, because he does some refurbishment. One of the professors at Kutztown also, he's the head of the Pennsylvania German minor there, gave me the contact information for Eric Claypool, who is also a very well-known artist in that community.
And Sarah and I are working with the Lehigh Valley Heritage Museum. The director there is going to provide me with some materials that I'm picking up tomorrow to help us execute them properly.
nice.
It was Schuster. He passed away in 2012. That was
Yeah.
William Schuster.
Mr. President, may I go ahead and ask them a
Sure.
question? So Carrie, Sarah, and Lauren, do you have an idea of the amount of money it will cost for the supplies as far as the paints, the size of the building, the number of coats? Is there an estimate that you have?
Depends on the type of paint that's used. And I mean, in terms of the mural itself, the wall, I think it's 108 feet wide. Is that right?
It's much more than that, but we're not painting all of it. When Dick and I measured it, I'm pretty sure it was 159.
59.
But we have to take in consideration there's some venting and things like that, so maybe 108 paintable space.
All right.
Because you'll have to give guidance as far as that. And that's why I say that, because I'm
Yeah.
sure Shane will be talking about that in more detail as far as.
Absolutely. We
what
could reach out to maybe Bus Paints and get an idea as to what kind of paint he would recommend on the outdoor, just to make sure it lasts, and then come up with an estimate.
Thank you.
So this is something that I think I'll refer to committee and work out the details. I'm not sure, Shane, any guidance on that? Who you think would handle it?
So
Parks and Rec?
I think Parks and Rec or CRD. I would think probably CRD has been concentrating on that mural concept. I think that's really the committee that
Okay.
would probably deal with it. Although
ahead.
Parks and Rec, I mean, it is in a borough park, but I would think we'll send it to Terry's committee. I think they're kind of the committee that's been dealing with the mural concepts.
Janet, do you mind?
No, I'm on that committee as well. So
Okay.
two of Parks and Rec are already on CRD. So
Okay, so there's pretty much a crossover there, so.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, you'll be handling that then.
Mr.
thank
President,
Yes.
could I ask for a copy of the slides as well? It's very interesting.
Absolutely. If you want to put your email in the chat box, I'll write it down and I'll make sure I CC you.
Okay, or Shane can forward it to me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we don't, I think we have chat disconnected.
Oh, you have chat disabled. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if Shane can forward it, that's good. I'll email it to you all tonight.
All
Thank
right,
you.
any other questions for them?
I think this is a great idea. I was watching the Smithsonian Channel the other day, and you guys might want to, even on CRD, Dallas, Texas has a whole program where they've painted murals all over the sides of buildings, and people travel from all over the country to see these murals, and it's actually a contest. A lot of the artists and whatnot, it's a pretty neat program. So trying to think what it was called, but I bet if you guys look up, Dallas, Texas murals, you'll find a lot of information and stuff, but it's
So
way cool.
So the only question that I would ask council members is, because there's a lot of planning that goes on in this. So you heard the concept of the barn stars on the building. Does anybody have any concerns about that? I mean, let's at least put that out there so that way the commission can move forward with the concept. If for some reason you have a major concern about the barn star concept, maybe say it now. If not, at least we can tell them, hey, you know what? Let's move forward with the idea. So that way, you ladies are at least moving forward with the concept. So that way, when we go to CRD, we're kind of already in the gear there.
Go ahead, Roy.
I like it. I think it's very unique. I think it adds something different to the park. I was just down there walking just on a Sunday afternoon, and that building, it's just going to be an upgrade, and it's going to just give some pop to that space there. And we have like some little murals over on the pool, so now you got a couple of things in one area. So I mean, I look forward to seeing it when it's done, and thank you for this. This has been an ongoing thing for years. We've talked about this, and that it's coming to fruition this year is great. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's going to be fun. I would love to see this be like just that gateway to the murals all over. That would be so nice.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Arts Commission. It's a nice project, and I think everyone on council is definitely looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. All right, have a great night.
Good night. All right, reading of the minutes. We have the reading of the minutes for February 1st, 2021. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Any questions or corrections or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We do have one item for decision on a bid, the front end loader financing. And I'll turn that over to Shane and also our Budget and Finance Chairman, Chris Dufresne.
Yeah, so Chris, do you want me to handle this or do you want?
Go ahead, Shane.
Okay, so if you look at your budget and finance notes, I think the very first subject on the budget and finance notes kind of puts it into one page. We received three bids for a lease for the front end loader that we've purchased. They were from Fulton Bank, Tax Exempt Leasing Corporation, First Columbia Bank and Trust. We looked at a 5-year rate and a 7-year rate. And after consideration, the Budget and Finance Committee decided you really can't beat the rate from First Columbia Bank and Trust for 5 years. It's at 2.39%. So therefore, we are making a recommendation to award the bid to finance the front end loader in the amount of $120,956 because we received about $37,000 in trade-in and then the $30,000 down payment at 2.39%.
Would somebody like to make that in the form of a motion?
I will.
Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. All right. No communications this evening. Does anyone have anything to bring forward? Oh, Councilman Anders and Mayor Gilbert has something then.
I have a letter from David Detweiler at 237 Furnace Street. I have forwarded it to Shane. It's just in regards to some snow plowing around his fence, and he would like to have that looked into for that issue. So, like I said, Shane.
A little louder, Roy.
Can you hear me now? Could you hear the beginning? It's just a in reference to snow plowing around the fence at 237 Furnace Street for Mr. David Detweiler.
Okay. And Mayor Gilbert?
Yes, the department received notice from the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission that they received a certification of safe policing for communities. And the letter states, on behalf of the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Commission, this letter confirms we're certifying that your agency meets certain eligibility requirements set forth by the U.S. Department of Justice for discretionary federal grants. Your agency is qualified to receive federal grants for 3 years from the date of this letter. Pursuant to Section 2 of the Presidential Executive Order on Safe Policing for Safe Communities dated June 6, 2020, Executive Order 13929, the Executive Order on Safe Policing, The U.S. Department of Justice discretionary grant funding is only available to state, local, tribal, and university or college law enforcement agencies that have obtained or are in the process of seeking credentials certifying that they meet certain standards on use of force. The executive order on safe policing empowers the U.S. Attorney General to designate independent credentialing bodies, including the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Commission, to certify that law enforcement agencies meet the conditions of eligibility for federal grants. Following our review, we have determined that your agency meets the conditions for certification. Accordingly, the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Commission will include your agency going forward within our database of certified law enforcement agencies. On or before January 31st of each year, we will provide the name of each certified law enforcement agency to the U.S. Department of Justice. And that is signed by the Executive Director, Scott Bond, and the Accreditation Program Coordinator, James Adams.
Mayor, could you send me a copy of that, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Certainly. There was a list of things that Chief Palmer had to certify that we actually do meet, that we comply with, and that's how we ended up getting the certification. So we are eligible for federal grants for the next 3 years from the date of the letter, which is dated January 31st, 2021. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mayor. That's congratulations to our police department. That's fantastic. Councilman Hart, go ahead.
No, I'm going to repeat your comment, your compliment. I commend the police department for obtaining that. And I would say no surprise, given the track record that our police department has had. So kudos to them. Thank you.
Mayor Gilbert, how long has it been since we've been accredited our police department? Is it 10 years already?
It's been longer. It's been longer than that. I've been here 9.
It's I want to
12.
It's probably even longer than that. I would
think
say since 2004, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was 06, Lee, but I'm not sure. But it's definitely back into the mid 2000s.
Yeah,
15-ish years. Yeah. Wow. You know,
yeah, it's a long time.
How much the police department changed in those 15 years, and how they had it every time they get reaccredited, that there's going to be different targets and stuff every time you go, because it keeps changing.
And we are going through the accreditation process again this year. We have a mock set in March, I believe it is. So we'll be having the mock and then final in May or June, maybe after that. Okay. So yeah, busy time.
Anyone else with the communication to bring forward? All right, hearing none, there's no borough engineers report, so solicitors report.
Mr. President, I have no report. I'll just report progress.
Thank you. There's no unfinished business part 1. We have under new business ordinance 1211 for first reading. An ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending chapter 15, subsection 602.3.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, adding a residential disabled parking sign and assigning a permitted parking spot on the public street located in front of 1248 West Minor Street, and amending chapter 15, subsection 602.2.a, adding a disabled parking sign on the public street located in front of 555 Broad Street within the Borough of Emmaus. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1211? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilwoman McManaman. It is a roll call vote. Councilwoman McManaman.
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne.
Aye.
Councilman Anders.
Aye.
Councilman Hart.
Aye.
Councilwoman Baumgartner.
Aye.
Councilman Balliet.
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg. Aye. There are 7 ayes. We will have second reading sometime in March. Would it be second meeting in March?
Yeah, I think it's the exact same date, or the 15th of March, probably.
Oh yeah, because it's a Monday instead of Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfinished business part 2. We have nothing, items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward? Hearing none, mayor's report.
I have nothing to report this evening. Progress.
Thank you. Committee reports. We have Public Works Committee Chairman Anders.
Yes, we met on February 10th. We have one item for official action. That is the request from the Emmaus Community Garden commission to place a shed in the community garden to store tools and other items. This would be a shed. It's like a Rubbermaid shed. They would be responsible for putting it together. The Public Works Department would be helping build the base for it. It would store their tools and other necessary items in the corner of that. So I would put that in the form of a motion to approve the placement of a shed in the community garden.
Dane, you want to add something?
Yeah, contingent upon zoning, right, Roy?
Yes, thank you, Shane. I did forget that part.
All right, this is a motion by Councilman Anders. Is there a second?
So moved.
Councilman Balliet. Any discussion? It's going to be if you're familiar with the community garden, if you're at the retention pond and facing the gate going in, it's the furthest one on the left, closest to the retention pond. That's where they intend on putting it. So anyhow, with that being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Also, during our meeting, we did discuss our snow removal efforts, and I wanted to commend our Public Works. Again, the gentlemen have all worked very hard. They may have more coming up, unfortunately, this week, but we do appreciate their efforts and all around to clear the snow and make everything as best as possible with the amount of snow that we did receive. Beyond that, there's a few other notes that you can read. If you have any questions, I'd be free to answer them, and otherwise I'll report progress.
Yeah, Mr. Anders, I just want to note to Borough Council, we have dealt with 5 significant water main breaks in the last 8 days, including over the weekend. There was a major one up on State Road that was blowing pretty bad. Actually, it was on President's Day. They were out till about 3 o'clock in the morning, but they did a good job with getting it done. But with this thaw and freeze, I mean, this is that time of the year. But yeah, we've had 5 in 8 days now. So
not just the snow we're dealing with; it's many other items there.
well, and every time that we have one, it takes 5 to 6 guys to go out on that. So the first 4 were right in the middle of snow removal, of course. So yeah, I would anticipate probably a few more over the next 30 days. It's normally that time of the year for us.
Thank you for that update, Shane.
Yeah.
Progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Balliet.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything for official action tonight. We have not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be February 24th at 4:45. Progress.
Thank you. Parks Recreation Committee, Chairwoman Baumgartner.
I have one item for official action. There is an effort to host a series of concerts in the Triangle this summer, and that'll be led by Emmaus Main Street Partners in partnership with Emmaus Arts Commission, as well as our own Recreation Entertainment Commission. So there will be concerts on the second and fourth Fridays from June through August from 6 to 8 p.m. is the proposed times. You'll see in your attachment information about the event, more details, but I'd like to put this in the form of a motion to approve the Emmaus Triangle Park concert series.
And Councilwoman Baumgartner, does that include reserving a couple parking spaces for the bands to unload, or is that going to be separate?
Yes, we will include that. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Is there a second? Councilman Balliet, any discussion?
I just have some questions regarding, how we are going to do this as far as the concerts, and depending on how the months proceed with COVID and what's going to be happening as far as entrance fees like we did at the concerts in the park, or will Parks and Rec be kind of overseeing this, and or Ms. Laura and Ms. Schreppel keeping you informed of progress in that respect?
Well, and so Alan Sylvester's group will also be part of that. I think the plan will be that Parks and Rec will ultimately have some say if there has to be some COVID restrictions involved. So The borough will definitely need to probably step in at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, did we vote? We didn't vote yet, right? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Okay, thank you. You have our attached meeting minutes. We had a very robust meeting last time. We will meet again March 2nd, 4:45 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President. We already handled my 2 requests for handicap parking earlier in the meeting. I would point out that there was a 3rd request that came forward from the post office to put no parking across from their exit in the back parking lot. Well, in reviewing this, we determined that there was a handicap parking approved slot across the street from where they wanted it. And it also happened to be immediately after the large snowstorm that we just had, and the snow was piled high, which obstructed their vision. The snow was piled high with their private plow company. Anyway, we unanimously recommended not approving it because of that. We felt that they could rectify the situation by removing the snow appropriately and not parking in the last 2 parking spaces of their lot. If anyone has any further recommendations, please send them to our committee, but it was felt it was not necessary at this time. Just a heads up, we will be coming forward with a request for an off-budget piece of equipment for a crossing signal for the triangle. We should have that ready for next month as a result of this committee approving the final look of it and then provide it for your consideration. Budget and Finance Committee did consider the funding for and did recommend funding it out of budget. So just a heads up that you will have something coming forward next month to consider. Also included in our packet was the police year-end report. I commend that to your reading. You will quickly realize that you sleep well at night as a result of the low crime rate that we are blessed with in the borough of Emmaus. I actually looked for us on the list of lowest crime rates in Pennsylvania. I couldn't find us there. We weren't listed anywhere, but I know in the past we did make that list, and I'm not sure what's going to happen should Pennsylvania approve recreational marijuana, because then we will lose our #1 arrest situation if that ever gets approved. So that's all I have, and unless anybody has any questions.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
on this traffic crosswalk, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought at Budget and Finance, Mr. Dalshalif found out that we could purchase the needed crosswalk stuff through our liquids fuels budget, and it was already an approved project.
Budget and Finance will come forward with the exact nature of how to purchase it. We're now simply waiting on the Public Safety Committee to get a second bite of the apple at what it's going to look like. And then all of council will have an opportunity to approve it at that point in time. Both the funding out of budget and also the look.
So as a point of clarification, Mr. Bally, this item was not specifically budgeted. And so I asked for it to go to Budget and Finance so that we can discuss exactly where we were going to bring it out of the budget. Not that I was opposed to it, but we just need to figure out what line item we were going to use, what the expense was going to be, where we were going to take it from. Budget and Finance, I think it took us 15 minutes to kind of figure that out and gave the go ahead for public safety to move forward with what they were planning on recommending to you.
Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 8th. I'm sorry, March 8th at 9:15 a.m. I report progress.
Thank you. General Administration Committee is myself. We have no action to take tonight. Our next meeting is February 25th via Zoom at 9 a.m. Progress. Budget and Finance Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. President. You can see and hear the budget performance report for January of 2021. You can take a look at that at your convenience or ask any questions. We do have one item for action here, Resolution 2021-6. Resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the February 16th, 2021 bill list as follows. Bill list $799,941.03. Payroll number 3, $177,779.08. Payroll taxes, $60,434.49 for a total of $1,038,154.60 done this 16th day of February 2021, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Dufresne. Is there a second? Councilman Hart. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Significant revenue and expense items for the first half of February are in there for you to look at. And then we do have the Budget and Finance Committee meeting notes, and you'll see in there it is discussed about if we do approve the crosswalk signal, where it could come out of. But again, we'll vote on that later. Unless there's any other questions from my committee, I'll report progress. And our next meeting is February 25th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Progress.
Thank you. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee Chairwoman McManaman.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one item for official action this evening. In your packets, please refer to a proposal from CGI Company, a communications firm specializing in municipal videos. As you may remember or know, in 2013, CGI was the company who produced the videos for us that are still available on our website. They are again partnering with the National League of Cities and U.S. Conference of Mayors and are offering us participation in this same community showcase video program. So a few highlights from your packet. The program is 100% free to us. We will receive 5 separate videos on topics of our choice, including a video on nonprofits in our community. CGI will approach businesses just like they did last time to sponsor the program. They will take care of all the logistics and work with us to assist in content and editing. It is important to note that even if we do not receive sponsorship, the program will be free, still be free to us. If we go ahead with the project, filming will happen in the summertime when our businesses, parks, and community are in full activity mode. The videos are a strong tool for marketing. As you have heard from this committee before, our concentration on marketing, economic development, and business development is keen for us. So I was fortunate to be involved in this project in 2013. It was a pleasure to work with CGI. The firm is easygoing with their interaction, the writers and the videographers, and I hope you all like the proposal. Shane, Shanna, or Roy, if you have anything to add to that of the information that's in our packet.
I would just say, the last time they did it, it was professionally done. We've used those videos for years. Mayor Gilbert was council president at the time. She was one of the stars of the video, I believe. But I thought that they did an excellent job with us. And I think they captured exactly what we were looking for. So
Really represented the borough.
yeah.
And actually, it was Mayor Yopes that was in that video.
I thought Mayor Gilbert was in it too, though.
She could have had a cameo, but I don't believe she was actually one of the talent, as we were calling it, the on-air talent. So I'd like to make a motion to contract with CGI Company for a series of Emmaus Borough videos.
There's a motion by Councilwoman McManaman, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Thank you. Other than that, please be sure you read the notes from our last meeting. You'll see that we also had a very exciting conversation around discussing and planning moving forward with the Planning Commission and setting public comment meetings and plans for our Emmaus Visioning 2030 project. Our next meeting is Monday, March 8th at 4:30, and I report progress.
Thank you. Junior council members report. Jonas?
Hi. So tomorrow is the Keystone exams, which take place at the high school. The ETV announcements are back on, which I'm a part of. A lot of the faculty at Emmaus High School has been enjoying the fact that we're slowly coming back to what we were doing before. And I also just wanted to say congratulations to Annika Herbine, who's been recently announced LehighValleyLives.com Field Hockey Player of the Year, and the rest of the field hockey team for their amazing season. And with that, I report progress.
Thank you, Jonas. We have 8 sets of various meeting reports. Also, you have annual reports from a couple groups. So read those to stay up to date with what they're doing. We have personal appeals part 2. If anyone has a personal appeal, Shane will unmute you, turn your video on, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal. So I only see Lynn. The other 2 are reporters, and then we have fire chief. So hearing none, we'll move on to Borough Manager's report.
Yeah, so just briefly, I will announce that Matthew Sadrovitz has resigned as a firefighter within the department. We're getting to the point where we probably need to hire a few people. I know that the fire chief has interviewed several, and I know that I think 2 are coming my way for 2nd round interviews. So we'll probably be hiring at least 1 or 2 people here in the very near future in the fire department. Still moving forward with some of the other hirings, including ambulance chief, as well as the police department is still working on backgrounds for the police officer hiring. So, you know, we are still moving forward with all those processes, going slowly, but we're getting there. I know that our hiring process for our full-time public works department employee will be coming soon, as we have a list established. So probably in early March, we'll be making the phone calls on that and having the committee make their formal recommendation. As far as progress on the building, we continue to have our meetings, as you guys are all aware. We have several more meetings planned to finish up some preliminary design work before we do our series of public meetings. And then ultimately, you know, we'll have it in front of council to vote on the matter as to what direction we're going to go in before we move forward with the rest of the work. You know, with that, there are some other major decisions that need to be made depending on what way council goes. For example, if we're going to move forward with the town hall portion of the project, you know, if we have to displace staff, what's the plan going to be? Those kinds of things. You know, we have to start talking about logistical things and planning for that. So there's a lot coming up. You know, like we said, I said to several council members today, your council agendas are light right now because we're in the middle of some major items, and not to mention public works union negotiations are coming to a theater near you very soon. So, you know, we're getting ready to ramp up for that in the middle of everything else that we're doing. So it's definitely a busy time. Keep reading your committee notes, keep on top of your information, because each of you, like we promised at the end of last year, each of you is going to have more than your fill of work moving forward. And I think you all are starting to feel that now. You know, we have a lot going on in every one of your committees. So I will report progress unless you have any questions for me.
Anybody? All right. President's business. I saw the sun for about 2 hours a day. It made me really happy. With that being said, motion to adjourn. Councilman Balliet, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 7:52.